put together a whole bunch of questions. It's a whole new bunch of questions. And before we get to that, I'm going to very quickly tell you about, if you win this week's Game of Facts, what are you going to get? Well, it's a very interesting book. It's by an IFS officer. He's a diplomat called Vijay Gokhale. And he's written this book called The Long Game. It's essentially how the Chinese negotiate, or how China negotiates with India. And I think it's sort of very factually relevant, especially. So this relationship clearly has, right from the 1950s, been intrigued with a lot of issues, and who better than a diplomat to really lay all the cards on the table and tell you exactly where this game is really heading. This is clearly something that, and it's what's fascinating actually about this book, whether or not you're interested in diplomacy or whether you're not interested in China and India, but it tells you that actually if you look into history, you get most of your answers, because human beings have a tendency of repeating mistakes. And you see, well, the seasons keep coming, right? I mean, every year you will get your monsoon and you will get, so all of that happens. And I think that's also, I think some of that is just part of human nature and who we are and where we are. And we just tend to sort of, everything is cyclical, everything comes back. So does fashion, so do a lot of political events, etc., issues, problems, etc. If you actually look back in history, you probably have the answer there. And that's really what this book is telling you about. So that's a book we have. Meenal has an equally interesting book for the Hindi quiz. So after the English quiz, don't go anywhere. We have the Hindi quiz that starts off. And we are coming up with some very interesting things. So hang around this space. I hope all of you have the game pin. It's 6000542. It's in the chat box. All you need to do is just take that game pin, log into kahoot.it. And put the game pin in. Shreyan, I hope you've got the game pin. It's 6000542. Put the game pin in, put whatever it asks you, just do that. We're not going to take more information that we need from you. And then we'll get going with the quiz. So that's about what we have. I'm very quickly, and then of course, we have 3 poll questions, we get into the actual quiz, and we announce the winners immediately after. In fact, not even, I've barely finished the quiz and Meenal comes on and we start with the Hindi quiz. So if you want to get lucky, you can actually win a book in Hindi and in English. Okay, so you can actually walk away with 2 books. So with that, welcome everyone. I'm going to share my screen and you will be able to see your names on the screen. So here we have it. We have Tanushri, Parisha, Shreyan, Vanshika, Madan, Gaurav, Parvinder. Okay, that's a new name, unless you've been using some other name before. Ritika, Paris, Mervin, Pratham, Satya, Shri, Ayush, Saurav, and Gaurav. That's interesting. Anuj, Padmaja. Hi, Padmaja. Isha. So as more people join in, which is absolutely fine, we can get started with the poll questions. We have 3 poll questions, just so that you're a little familiar. If you joined after a couple weeks, you're a little rusty. How does this work? You can pretty much practice that during the poll questions. Then we get into the actual quiz. Hi, Amrita, Ria, Vinod. And yeah, that's it. So I think we are ready to roll. You can still join in while the poll questions are on. And actually, we have seen this happen. People have joined in after the first and second question of the actual quiz, and they've gone on to win the quiz because, well, their answers were right. And they were, clearly the fastest finger also works in this format. So with that, welcome everyone. It's the quiz that we have I'm not going to reveal too much. We always tend to follow the UN International Days, and we try and make it a little topical. So we've done a bit of all of that in this particular quiz, and you will, by the end of it, walk away very, very knowledgeable about demographics and population, etc. And of course, a whole lot of other things. Hi, Dipankar. So nice to see Anna, Priya, Mukesh. The Chabras are here. It's we always wait for them. All right. Okay. So I'm going to start with the poll questions. And again, no wrong answers or right answers, if you will. We just want to sort of test the room in the temperature in the room. Sorry. Okay. So here we have it. It's a multi-select. Your greatest fear or something you simply dread or worry about is, as somebody who's young, Nishant, probably looking at your next job, managing office politics, interviewing or hunting for that job, filling up appraisal forms or negotiating salaries. What is the thing that you dread? I know what I dread, but I'm asking you. Okay, so, well, yeah, spot on. So for me, it was always, yes, that dreaded question at an interview, tell me about yourself. I used to just, it still, I think I say that question to myself and it just fills me with dread. It's like, oh my God, don't tell me. So what was my CV doing, that I gave to you? Yeah, managing politics, I'm still okay with that. But negotiating salary, yes, does become very, very tricky. And the sleepless nights that you have about it. And appraisal forms is, again, something that I just, for the life of me, find very, very sometimes difficult to understand. Okay, so another question. Do you feel school or college life has prepared you for your career? No, not that I was paying any attention either. Absolutely not. Yes, it taught me all the skills needed. And in some ways, I mean, I did sort of walk away with a few lessons. What's your option? Okay, so we're being a little diplomatic. We're saying, yeah, in some ways we did learn some things. I think discipline, yes, is something that you pick up sort of in school and college, and that kind of takes you in. And then it's, I think, no and absolutely not, which is sort of in the same zone. And yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. No, and yes, it taught me all the skills I needed. So it's sort of split. Okay, I think we're equally cognizant of the fact that yes, it has taught you something, and no, it's not taught you much, and not that you really cared. And three of us feel absolutely not, nothing at all. Okay, the most exciting, really, task for me every week is to collect the word cloud, and the fantastic word cloud all of you just contribute to. So that's coming up next. We won't make it very tedious for you. Just one thing, it could be a skill, it could be anything that you feel is extremely important for professional life, that probably all of us, if we haven't learned it so far, we should pick it up. Just any word, thing, computers maybe, social media skills, I guess, reading, whatever that is, that you feel really will help in professional life. A little late in the day for me, but I'm still willing to learn. I think empathy, that's so fantastic. Whoever said empathy, I think that's very valuable. Communication skills, absolutely. Oh my gosh, you guys have really, really evolved. Excel, I so agree. Whoever has said Excel, I think you just hit the nail on the head. That's so important. Reading, time management, honesty, absolutely. Having peace of mind, punctuality. I mean, this is so wonderful. Diplomacy, yes, I think, yes. Not saying whatever's on your mind, something I learned very, very late in the day. And after getting a lot of knocks in life, is that you don't have to say whatever's on your mind all the time. Knowing our rights, being self-confident. Excel has come up twice, and I cannot agree more. the amount of time I probably would have saved, and the amount of actually things I could have done if I had been better at Excel. I completely agree with you. Someone said PowerPoint as well. And yes, that is a part of life, and emotional intelligence, articulation. I think all of these, yes, very, very valuable. And thank you all very much. It's extremely helpful. Whichever stage of our careers we're in, I truly believe that, you will have, if you really have, this is a marathon, and you have to sort of keep at every regular interval, upskilling, learning something different, keep on. I mean, don't sort of get into that zone where you feel like you know everything and this is it, this is the end of the road, because it's never the end of the road. There's always something that's going to come. And I think technology is going to keep challenging us to learn something different. So I hope you've got the hint, because it's a lot about, we've had the World Youth Skill Day that's gone by. We've had the Population Day that's happened. We've kind of created a bit of a mishmash. But again, as always, I say, this is not something you're going to read in a book. It's something you're going to observe. It's something you're going to test your bias about. And that's all that has to be done. All right, so here we are, this week's The Game of Facts, the best time of the week for us. And the first question for double points. India is set to become the world's most populous country in 2053, 2023, 2043, or 2033. So 29 of you said next year, and you are correct. Next year, the UN estimates that India, which is already in the race with China, will overtake China. And together, we contribute 1.4 billion people each. So we bring to the table 2.8 billion people. That's a lot of people. And with this means the entire demographic is going to change. And we talk about the demographic dividend. We'll come to that later. But clearly, this is something that, was always sort of off. And I was always quite happy being second in the race for a change, and always felt it might be good if we had more of a gap. But here we are. We did not have any one child policy or any of those, while the government did sort of try very hard to try to convince citizens to have lesser children, and there were government programs, etc. But here we are. It's a very, very, I think it's a very important moment, and I think we have to be seized with the responsibility and the opportunities that come with this. But in 2023, India will be the most populous country in the world. I don't think it's yet sinking in. So anyway, we're going to see who's on the scoreboard, and it's Vinod, Parvinder, Isha, Swati, and Mayur who got the first question right and were the fastest. True or false? In 2020, the global growth rate fell under 1% per year for the first time since 1950. We're talking about the number of people that we add onto the planet every year. And this statistic says in 2020, this growth rate actually fell for the first time since 1950. So thanks to the pandemic, I think most of us got a bit of a jolt there. And for the first time, we actually saw the global growth rate fall under 1%. It probably will resume, or probably it will in a much more nuanced manner, and it's going to be interesting to see where we're going to see the growth come from. Is it going to be the developed, I mean, clearly not the developed countries, but to just understand the growth rates in the low middle income countries and the high income countries, and see really where what's happening. But I think the pandemic, in a sense, just sort of put a stop to a whole range of things, including the growth rate. And with this question, it's now Isha, Mayur, Madan, Parisha, and Tom. We still have a few questions to go, so don't worry. This is a true or false and double points for this one. On a global level, I think we all know what happens in India, but on a global level, men live longer compared to women. Is this statement true or false? So something to be said about the female of this species, but globally as well, women will outlive men. And I think, when you think about this, there's something to be had here, because when you think about policies, or you think about infrastructure, or you think about regulations, or you think about most aspects in life, it's very sort of skewed or biased towards men. And even something as simple as seat belts or very, very basic things, right? And to think that women are going to outlive men, maybe there has to be some course correction here. Just a thought. So now it's Mayur, Parisha, Madan, Prem, and Anna. And we're going at a pretty good pace. From about 5 births per woman in 1950, the average fertility rate of the world's population in 2021 is 3.3 births per woman, 4.3 births, 1.3 births, or 2.3 births per woman. This is a global average. And 24 of you went for 2.3. And that is correct. The current birth rate or fertility rate for a woman is to have 2.3 children in her lifetime. Now this, as we develop further, as more things happen, this number will go down, and at some point it will reach a stagnant rate. So it's now Mayur, Anna, Prem, Nishant, and Sagar, and we'll get into the next question. Double points for this question. Number of women in India who quit the workforce between 2017 and 2022. Is it 21 million, 51 million, 21 lakh, or 51 lakh? So 18 of you said 21 million, and you are correct. I wish the number were 21 lakh or 51 lakh. Thank God it is not yet 51 million. Now, this is a very sort of special project at India Spend, where we've been working very closely to understand different data sets, which are giving us an indication of where India's women are at work. And currently, it's not sounding very good. So Namita Bhandari, she's been since 2017 working on this whole vertical called Women at Work. And she's been sort of circumstances, the narratives, the reasons, just everything, in trying to decode the numbers to understand where are the missing women? Why is it that India's women get into the workforce and very quickly they leave? And what are the reasons? So it's a very, very fascinating area of work that she's doing. In fact, Women at Work 3.0 has just launched yesterday. And this is really a question that she brings up time and time again of these. 21 million is still, according to her, a very conservative number. They're far more than this. And what do we do? What are those aspects, or what are those things that we can do easily to get more women to work? All right, so we'll take a look at the scoreboard. It's now Prem, Nishant, Sagar, Ayush, and Madan, and we'll get into the next true or false? Women with low levels of education quit jobs the fastest. Is this statement true or false? Okay, so it's a bit of a hung parliament out there. Surprise, surprise. So while we know, and I think some of you probably got a little swayed by that, women who have higher degrees tend to marry much later in life, okay, which makes sense. Now, this is really something that I was gobsmacked with as well. And I couldn't understand. And I said, no, I mean, can't be. Women with low levels of education quit jobs the fastest. No, it's women with high levels of education who are quitting jobs the fastest. So these are women who have studied beyond their higher secondary degrees, they have got graduate degrees, master's degrees, PhDs, and who say, we're not working anymore, this is not working for us. And there are many, many reasons why they're doing that. But I think this is really the tragedy of what we call the demographic dividend, or, you know, the holding half the sky, or whatever fancy term we want to call for that, which is that women who are well educated are giving up. And they're giving up because they're saying no, and they're not even looking for jobs anymore, right? I mean, they've just completely said, we're out of this. And I think that's the scariest part. And then you have women who are entering into the workforce, but doing really, really very menial jobs because they have to keep the fires, burning at home. They have to make sure that their children are fed. And these are very, very sort of low paying, low menial jobs that ideally they should be, something that nobody wants to do. And then, they're just doing it. So not a very happy story there. Again, Namita has covered a lot of this in Women at Work 3.0. You get a chance, please, please, please. It's, it's just one of those things that will, I think, just, light bulbs will sort of go off in your head. I mean, you'll be like, oh my God, if you're a woman, you'll be able to look out for those. If you are a man, then you will probably be able to guide women around you who are really struggling with work and wondering, how do you keep on with this any longer? So we'll take a look at the scoreboard with this. And now, oh my gosh, fantastic to have Nishant in the lead, followed by Prem, Priya, Ayush, and Niharika. And we'll get into the next question. It is coming to an end, but still some time away. In the central government, there are close to X number of vacant positions. Is this 80,000, 800,000, 12 lakh, or 22 lakhs? We're talking about jobs in the central government only. And we know that there are about 30 to 40 million people who need jobs. And the correct answer is 800,000 vacant positions at this point in time in the central government. Of course, the demand is 30 to 40 million jobs that our youth want. And the central government actually has about 800,000 vacant positions. Government jobs are still very coveted because the kind of sort of pensions and other kind of perks that you get access to, as well as job security, is something that a lot of us really, really care much about. So with all the gig economy, etc., the best really employer tends to be perceptionally the government. Okay, we'll take a look at the scoreboard, and we've had a bit of a tumble. It's now Ayush, Nishant, Prem, Sagar, and Priya, and we'll get into the next question. True or false? 1 in 6 teaching positions are vacant. Is this statement true or false? So there we have it. Yes, clearly something, if there is a young person out there who's wondering, what should I do? Where do you think I could get a job? I think looking at a government job, looking at teaching is not really a bad option at all. And it's also very, I guess, gratifying. So it's now Ayush, Nishant, Prem, Sagar, and Pratham. And the next question. 1 in X police positions are vacant. We're looking at some job hunting today. So is it 1 in 5 police positions, 1 in 7, 1 in 2, or 1 in 10? So 17 of you, and actually that's a majority, the highest number, said 5. So 1 in 5 police positions are vacant. This was really an interview which was done on India Spend with Mahesh Vyas from CMI. He clearly, that CMI really is an authority when it comes to understanding employment among the youth, and just in particular opportunities, jobs, etc. in the country. They are clearly a premier institution at that. And we did sort of one of the quizzes where we did talk about that, the fact that there are lots of, across states, there are lots of positions which are understaffed in the police force. And here we have the answer. We'll take a look at the scoreboard, and it's now Ayush, Nishant, Pratham, Prem, and Sagar. And we have the last question coming up, but don't go anywhere because Meenal's coming up with her quiz. Based on the current inflation rates, rank the countries from high to low on inflation. So what you're going to do is, where the inflation is highest is going to come on top. So the high number comes on top, and then the countries that are doing really well in controlling inflation, which means the numbers are small, will come at the bottom. So just keep that in mind. In this, things like inflation rates, the higher the percentage, it's not good news for the country. Or I would say it's not good news in particular for citizens of that country. Not bad. Okay, so Brazil is in the lead, and it's in the double digits of inflation rates currently. Of course, Venezuela tops the list, and it's gone for a complete free fall. So has countries like Argentina, etc. But Brazil has got a double-digit inflation rate currently. India is somewhere at around 7.01%. China has been able to manage this really well, pandemic or no. They're about 2.5, and they're kind of with Japan in that. And Saudi Arabia is surprisingly doing the best, which is a 2.3% inflation rate. In fact, it's interesting because Saudi Arabia did fairly well during the pandemic, and inflation rate started creeping up during the pandemic. And then you had the energy crisis and all of that. And then Ukraine just upsetting a lot of things, the Russia-Ukraine crisis, and continues to do so. But Saudi Arabia clearly has, enough of energy security, etc. And they're able to control the inflation, which is at 2.3 or thereabouts. Okay, so with this, we come to the end of this quiz, and we'll have another round of questions next week. So don't go anywhere, because Meenal's quiz is going to come up, and you could actually walk away with 2 books. So we'll get into the podium now. And in the 3rd spot, congratulations, Pratham, you have won the long game. IFQ is the long game. Nishant, congratulations, you're in the 2nd spot. And in the number 1 spot, we have Ayush Dev. Runner-ups are Prem and Sagar. I'm sure you're going to get lucky next time. Ayush, Nishant, and Pratham. Enjoy The Long Game. It's a very, very fascinating book written by Vijay Gokhale, who's a very well-known expert on all things India-China. And it's a fascinating book. I hope you really enjoy it and do share reviews with us. I haven't read it. I'm curious to know how that book is. And thank you all so much for joining us this week. Don't go anywhere. I'm now going to stop sharing my screen and Meenal's going to take over.
Hello, namaste, good evening. I think this was a very interesting quiz by Rashmi और thank you so much for joining us और अभी आप हमारे साथ हिंदी quiz खेल पाएंगे so don't go anywhere. बस कुछ ही मिनट में मैं अपना स्क्रीन शेयर करूंगी और आप गेम पिन चैट बॉक्स में आपके साथ शेयर किया गया है, आप जल्दी से गेम पिन को एंटर कर सकते हैं और कोई पोल क्वेश्चंस नहीं है क्योंकि एक क्विज अभी अभी आपने खेला है तो हम जल्दी से दूसरा क्विज स्टार्ट करेंगे और कुछ आई थिंक थीम जो है वो काइंड ऑफ सिमिलर है बट लेट्स सी कि आपको कैसा लगता है और अगर आपको हिंदी समझने में थोड़ी मुश्किल होती है देन डोंट वरी बिकॉज आई विल आल्सो ट्रांसलेट द क्वेश्चंस इन इंग्लिश और मैं ये जल्दी जल्दी बोलने की कोशिश करूंगी ताकि आपका समय भी कम ना हो और आप जल्द से जल्द आंसर दे पाएं। आज इसी पहले मैं स्क्रीन शेयर कर देती हूँ, उसके बाद मैं आपको जो आज की किताब है उसके बारे में बताऊंगी। So here we have the game pin. जब तक हमारे साथ सब जुड़ रहे हैं, मैं आपको जो आज की हमारी किताब है उसके बारे में बता देती हूँ। ये किताब है कुरुक्षेत्र और ये लिखी है दिनकर जी ने, रामधारी सिंह दिनकर। वो एक बहुत ही रिनाउंड हिंदी एसेस्ट, क्रिटिक और पोएट रह चुके हैं और उन्होंने प्री इंडिपेंडेंस एरा के टाइम पे, इंडियन इंडिपेंडेंस एरा के टाइम पे जो भी लिटरेचर है वो लिखा है। काफ़ी ज़्यादा बड़ा योगदान है उनका हिंदी लिटरेचर में। और ये जो किताब है कुरुक्षेत्र, ये जैसे कि आप सब जानते हैं जो महाभारत की लड़ाई हुई थी, जो महाभारत का युद्ध हुआ था वो कुरुक्षेत्र में हुआ था और ये उसी के बारे में किताब है। ये पोएम लिखी गई है और आज के जो हमारे 3 विजेता होंगे उन्हें ये किताब मिलेगी। तो वेलकम टू ऑल ऑफ यू, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस टुडे एंड कुछ ही देर में हम बस क्विज स्टार्ट करने वाले हैं। तो आप जल्द से जल्द क्विज एंटर कर लीजिए क्योंकि कोई पोल क्वेश्चंस नहीं है और 10 क्वेश्चंस हैं, काफी जल्दी टाइम निकल जाएगा। बट अगर आप अभी भी मतलब 1-2 क्वेश्चंस के बाद भी आप ज्वाइन करेंगे, जैसा कि आपने देखा है या रश्मि ने भी बताया कि जो क्वेश्चंस जो अगर आप कुछ मिस भी कर देते हैं डजंट रियली मैटर बिकॉज एट द एंड इफ यू आर फास्ट एंड इफ यू आर करेक्ट देन यू कैन विन द बुक एंड ऑल द बेस्ट। तो चलिए शुरुआत करते हैं हमारे क्विज के साथ। ओके, सो लेट्स बिगिन। आज का हमारा पहला क्वेश्चन जो है वो डबल पॉइंट्स के लिए है। दुनिया भर में युवा महिलाओं का प्रतिशत जो रोजगार, शिक्षा या प्रशिक्षण में नहीं है, परसेंटेज ऑफ यंग वुमेन नॉट इन एम्प्लॉयमेंट, एजुकेशन और ट्रेनिंग वर्ल्ड वाइड। आपके ऑप्शन है 25%, 30%, 5% और 10%। उन महिलाओं का प्रतिशत जो कि एम्प्लॉयड नहीं है, कोई एजुकेशन नहीं प्राप्त कर रही और कोई ट्रेनिंग नहीं प्राप्त कर रही है, और ये ग्लोबल नंबर की बात हो रही है। 25, 30, 5 और 10%। ओके, 16 ऑफ यू गॉट दिस करेक्ट और जो करेक्ट आंसर है वो है 30%। तो अभी के हिसाब से जो बिल्कुल लेटेस्ट डेटा है उसके हिसाब से 30% यंग फीमेल्स, यंग वुमेन जो हैं वो कोई भी ट्रेनिंग या कोई एजुकेशन प्राप्त नहीं कर रही हैं, वो एम्प्लॉयड नहीं है। जो ये प्रोपोर्शन है फॉर यंग वुमेन, यंग पीपल इन जनरल, जो ये प्रोपोर्शन है ये काफी हाई रहा है ओवर द पास्ट 15 years। और फीमेल्स के लिए जैसा कि हम देख रहे हैं इट्स 30% एंड फॉर मेन, यंग मेन, इट इज अबाउट 13% वर्ल्ड वाइड। So with this, here we have our scoreboard for the Hindi quiz. और सबसे पहले स्वाति, तुषार, मयूर, कार्तिकेय और श्रेयन ने अपनी लीड ले ली है स्कॉरबोर्ड पर, और उसके बाद हम चलते हैं नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन पे। कोविड-19 महामारी के दौरान लगभग 50% उद्यमों यानी कि एंटरप्राइजेस ने इंटर्न्स को वेतन यानी कि स्टाइपेंड देना बंद कर दिया था। 50% of the enterprises had stopped paying stipends or wages to apprentices, interns, trainees during the pandemic. क्या ये सही है या गलत? Okay, 24 of you got this correct. ये बिल्कुल सही है। जो ट्रेनिंग, जो ओवरऑल ट्रेनिंग है और जो भी ट्रेनिंग दी जा रही थी लोगों को कंपनीज में, इंटर्न्स को, वो इंटरप्ट तो हुई ही थी फॉर 86% ऑफ अप्रेंटिसेस और 83% ऑफ इंटर्न्स एंड ट्रेनीज। जो नियरली हाफ ऑफ द एंटरप्राइजेस है, विच इज अबाउट 50% ऑफ द एंटरप्राइजेस, दे स्टॉप्ड पेइंग द स्टाइपेंड और वेजेस टू इंटर्न्स एंड ट्रेनीज। तो 24 ऑफ यू गॉट दिस करेक्ट। चलते हैं हमारे स्कॉरबोर्ड की तरफ। And bit of a shift, we have Swati, Kartikeya, Mayur, Shreyan and Parvinder who's just entered the scoreboard. चलते हैं हमारे अगले क्वेश्चन की तरफ। डबल पॉइंट्स इसके भी, तो सोच समझ के आंसर दीजिएगा। जून 2022 तक भारत की बेरोजगारी दर, आपको इंडियाज अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट एज ऑफ जून 2022 बताना है। Is it 11.8%, 1.8%, 3.8% or 7.8%? Wow, 24 of you got this correct. Majority. तो जो India's unemployment rate है, that shot up to 7.8% in June 2022, और मतलब पिछले महीने ये about 13 million jobs जो थी वो लोगों ने अपनी जॉब्स खो दी, और दिस इज मोस्टली इन द एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर। दिस इज द बिगेस्ट फॉल इन एम्प्लॉयमेंट ड्यूरिंग अ नॉन लॉकडाउन मंथ। और यही हम मई 2022 और जून 2022 की बात करें तो अराउंड 13 मिलियन जॉब्स जैसे कि लोगों ने लूज करी हैं। In May, it was about 404 million, and June में 390 million. So 13 million jobs were lost. And with this, we have our scoreboard once again. Wow, every new scoreboard has new names coming up on it. So we have Swati. I think Swati's been on the first position since the very beginning. So Swati, Mayur, Kartikeya, Dipankar, and Shreyan. Let's go on to our next question. कोविड-19 महामारी के वैश्विक प्रभाव के रूप में कुल नौकरियों में से आधे से अधिक महिलाओं ने नौकरियां खोई। As a global impact of the pandemic, women accounted for more than half of overall jobs lost. क्या ये सही है या गलत? तो हम पैंडेमिक की वजह से जो लोगों ने अपनी जॉब्स लूज करी हैं, आधे से ज्यादा उसमें से महिलाएं थी। 23 of you correct. ये सही है। Women accounted for about 54% to be precise. Job losses despite representing 39% of global employment. So with this, we have a scoreboard once again. Oops, I think I just jinxed it for Swati, but no, you'll come back, I'm sure. And we have Mayur, Kartikeya, Dipankar, Shreyan, Niharika has just come up on the scoreboard. So with this, we move on to our next question. Double points for this one again. कम आय वाले देशों यानी कि लो इनकम कंट्रीज में जनसंख्या का प्रतिशत जिन्हें कोविड-19 के खिलाफ टीका लगाया गया है। Percentage of population in low income countries that are vaccinated against COVID-19. आपके ऑप्शंस है 51%, 11%, 71%, 31%. So the correct answer is 11%, and 9 of you got this correct. 2021 में जो WHO है, it laid out a global target to vaccinate 70% of the population in all countries. और ये जो target है, that this has been met by only 52 countries. जो interim milestone है of 40% coverage, that is yet to be achieved by 69 countries, और 21 ऐसी countries हैं, उन 69 countries में से 21 ऐसी countries हैं, they have not even achieved 10% coverage. So with this, we'll move on to the scoreboard. Anshika is asking for the game pin. Game pin, Anshika, आपको chat box में दिया जाएगा. Otherwise, it is 8547949, and you still have 5 more questions to go. तो आप जल्दी से जल्दी enter कर लीजिए game को. And we wish you all the best. With this, we move on to our scoreboard. Okay, Dipankar, Shreyan, Swati, see, you're back. And Niharika, Nishant. Wow, 2 chabras on the scoreboard. So with this, we move on to our next question. दुनिया भर की जनसंख्या का प्रतिशत जिसे कोविड-19 वैक्सीन का कम से कम एक टीका प्राप्त हुआ है. Percentage of the total population that has received at least 1 dose of COVID-19 vaccine. आपके ऑप्शंस हैं 45%, 55%, 65%, 85%. ग्लोबल लेवल पे हम बात कर रहे हैं परसेंटेज ऑफ पॉपुलेशन जिसे कोविड-19 की एटलीस्ट एक वैक्सीन प्राप्त हो चुकी है. Okay, 13 of you got this correct, जो 65%, and overall over 11 billion doses have been administered globally. So with this scoreboard, I think Dipankar has a streak with 6 correct answers in a row. I think scoreboard में बहुत slight change हुआ है. So we have Shreyan, Swati, Niharika, and Kartikeya. Yeah, I think people are just going on and off the scoreboard, which is fine. Let's see who wins the quiz. Next question for double points. ट्रांसजेंडर व्यक्तियों को आयुष्मान भारत स्वास्थ्य बीमा का लाभ नहीं है. Transgender persons do not have the benefits of Ayushman Bharat healthcare insurance. क्या ये सही है या गलत? Is this true or false? (23 of you got this correct. ये गलत है. In fact, एक latest जो February 2022 से the center has extended the benefits of Ayushman Bharat healthcare insurance, जो Ayushman Bharat स्वास्थ्य बीमा योजना है. It has extended the benefits to transgender persons under a new scheme, which is support for marginalized individuals for livelihood and enterprises. लेकिन इसके कुछ problems भी हैं क्योंकि ये जो scheme है, it only it includes the support for gender affirmation therapy, which is also called which is also for gender affirmation surgery, or this is only available to those transgenders who are registered with the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. तो जो भी लोग इस जो भी registered नहीं है उनके लिए अभी भी problem है क्योंकि ये जो national portal है for registration, it also allots them the identity card. तो सिर्फ वही transgenders जो इस portal से registered हैं, इस portal में registered हैं, उन्हें अभी आयुष्मान भारत स्वास्थ्य बीमा का लाभ मिल सकता है, लेकिन बाकी जो ट्रांसजेंडर पर्सन्स हैं उन्हें registration के बाद ही ये लाभ मिल पाएगा. So with this we have our scoreboard once again. Okay, 3 of the chabras on the scoreboard: Dipankar, Shreyan, Niharika, Nishant, and Prem. With this we move on to our next question. I think we have about 3 more questions to go. तो कानून सरकार को जेंडर अफर्मेशन सर्जरी के लिए हार्मोनल थेरेपी और परामर्श प्रदान करने का आदेश देता है. The law mandates the government to provide hormonal therapy and counseling for gender affirmation surgery. क्या ये सही है या गलत? जेंडर अफर्मेशन सर्जरी जो है उसे सेक्स रीअसाइनमेंट सर्जरी भी कहते हैं. 23 of you got this correct. ये सही है. According to the Transgender Persons Act 2019, health facilities like separate HIV surveillance centers and gender affirmation surgery के लिए जो hormonal therapy और counseling है, it is mandatory, and this has to be given both before and after the surgery. तो ये कुछ सुविधाएं हैं जो the law has mandated to the government to provide to transgender people. So with this, okay, so we have Tushar and Amrita who's just entered the scoreboard. Let's go on to our next question and then see what it looks like. भारत में बाढ़ के कारण होने वाली मौतों की औसत वार्षिक संख्या यानी कि एवरेज एनुअल लॉस ऑफ लाइफ ड्यू टू फ्लड्स इन इंडिया. भारत में बाढ़ के कारण होने वाली मौतों की औसत यानी कि एवरेज एनुअल नंबर क्या है? Is it 2,154, 1,654, 654, 1,154? ये हम एक एनुअल एवरेज नंबर की बात कर रहे हैं जो ओके, सो 14 ऑफ यू गॉट दिस करेक्ट. जो आंसर सही है वो है जो इसका आंसर है वो है 1654 और ये ईयर 1953 से 2018 तक का एवरेज ली गई है जो एनुअल एवरेज निकलती है. इसी हिसाब से मॉनेटरी डैमेज जो है विच इज इट इज एस्टिमेटेड टू बी अराउंड 5,694 crore. Loss of life 1,654. Loss of cattle life 6,18,248 और houses damaged 1.2 million. तो ये एक जनरल जो एवरेज निकाली है ईयरली बिकॉज ऑफ फ्लड्स जो लॉस होता है कुछ इस प्रकार होता है. और इस क्वेश्चन के बाद okay, we have Dipankar and Shreyan on the first and second position, and then we have Niharika, Nishant, and Prem Chhabra. Niharika has three answers in a row. She's given 3 correct answers in a row. Okay, with this, we move on to our last question, puzzle question, double points. मौतों की संख्या के आधार पर इन मौसम की घटनाओं को उच्च से निम्न में रैंक करें. Rank these weather events from high to low on the basis of number of deaths. आपके ऑप्शंस हैं चक्रवाती तूफान यानी कि साइक्लोनिक स्टॉर्म, मेघ विद्युत यानी कि लाइटनिंग, बाढ़ और भारी वर्षा यानी कि फ्लड्स एंड हेवी रेन्स, हिमपात यानी कि स्नोफॉल. तो इन वेदर इवेंट्स के अकॉर्डिंग जिस वेदर इवेंट से सबसे ज्यादा डेथ्स हुई हैं वो सबसे पहले आएगा और जिससे सबसे कम डेथ्स हुई होंगी, दिस इज फॉर द ईयर 2021, जिससे सबसे कम हुई होंगी वो सबसे लास्ट में. आपको इसे करेक्ट ऑर्डर में प्लेस करना है. आई थिंक जो पिछली गेम में आपने पजल क्वेश्चन सॉल्व किया, रियली नाइस. 6 of you got that correct. काफी एक्साइटिंग लगता है ऐसा देखना जब काफी लोगों को पजल क्वेश्चन सही आता है. आई थिंक दिस शुड ऑल्सो बी इजी. Oh, not bad. See, 5 of you got this correct. जो correct order है that is floods and heavy rains, lightning, cyclonic storm, and then snowfall. जो total number of deaths in 2021 हुई थी due to different weather events, it was around 1,766. उसमें से जो floods and heavy rains की वजह से हुई थी that was about 760, lightning की वजह से 730, cyclonic storms की वजह से 174 और snowfall की वजह से 20 number of deaths. So with this, I think 5 of you got double points, but it will be exciting to see who won the quiz. So here we have the podium for you. तीसरे स्थान पर है निहारिका, दूसरे स्थान पर है श्रेयन और आज के क्विज के विनर फर्स्ट पोजीशन पे we have Dipankar. Wow, congratulations to the 3 of you, and the runners up are Nishant and Abhishek. I think you did really well और आप अपना prize claim कर सकते हैं with the form that is given to you in the chat box. Please claim your prize within 24 hours. और हम आशा करते हैं that you enjoyed both the English and the Hindi quiz. And we hope to see you again next week, sharp at 5 p.m. So thank you so much for joining us and have a lovely weekend ahead.